Okay, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over my retrospective and review for Wonder Boy and Monster World, which I probably should have done 2 or 3 days ago after I beat the game, but yeah, it wasn't that long ago since I beat it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick review of this guy and just go over it. So basically, as far as the Monster World sub-series of the Wonder Boy games is concerned, this would be the third game in that sub-series. Now, earlier this year I played Wonder Boy in Monsterland and followed that up with The Dragon's Curse, which was also known as Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap on the Sega Master System. And there's a little bit of a nuance to that whole Wonder Boy 3 name. There's actually 2 video games that have the Wonder Boy 3 name. You can look that up for yourself if you're interested in some of that Sega trivia of the past. But basically, to keep it short, Wonder Boy 3 The Dragon's Trap was a Sega Master System game, and Wonder Boy 3 The Monster's Lair was an arcade release, which was also later ported to multiple platforms like the Genesis in the future. So a little bit of a different fork there, as it were. But anyway, back to this game. I'd like to go ahead and basically just say, after playing Wonder Boy in Monsterland, which was, for all intents and purposes, very much heavily a platformer, very slight Metroidvania elements. Almost none, to be honest, but there were some, just not a lot. And then the follow-up, Dragon's Curse, was actually a full-on Metroidvania. Now this one here is also listed as a Metroidvania, but in a way, as far as from my perspective from playing it, it definitely leans more towards the Wonder Boy and Monsterland side of things, even to the point where the music, for instance, and the final castle is like straight from Wonder Boy and Monsterland, which admittedly is actually probably a nice touch, because I did find that music was actually pretty I liked the music, and it was kind of a nice callback to have that music there, so that was a nice touch. But the Dragon's Curse, to give you some idea, it wasn't nearly as difficult as this game. And I don't want to say difficulty is a bad thing, because it isn't. And definitely this game was definitely a challenge to beat, even with me having all the power-ups available, like the best weapons, armor, all the hearts, everything was available, and I was still, it was still a challenge to beat that last boss. But in a way, that's kind of, I don't know, I guess to say almost antithetical to most Metroidvanias, in the fact that if you power up and you get every single thing, or if you have like a level-based Metroidvania, you're like super leveled up, usually that helps you significantly more against the bosses than it did here. So that's why I feel like, in a certain way, it skewed more towards Wonder Boy and Monsterland, in the fact that it was definitely more difficult, and getting all the upgrades wasn't necessarily, to make you feel powerful or anything. It was just to make sure you didn't die in, say, 2 hits, comparatively speaking. But other than that, I mean, it was a fairly difficult game. Mostly the boss fights. There was that time, I think I had almost an entire video of me walking around confused as to what to do, trying to find Poseidon's Ocean, and I felt that section of the game, the middle section of the game in particular, definitely I needed to consult a guide just to figure out what the heck I was supposed to do, and I can't recall ever having to do anything like that in the Dragon's Curse. It was, a little more straightforward, as it were. It wasn't so much so in this game, and that middle portion definitely did kind of bog things down for a little bit. But having said that, once I got past the middle portion and kind of got into the whole ice area, followed up by the final castle and things of that nature, it was actually pretty more well guided. So there was definitely a lull there in the middle of the game, for sure, that I want to point out, that I don't believe was there in the Dragon's Curse. And the Dragon's Curse, of course, had the ability to change your shape. You could be like the dragon guy, the lion creature. I think there's a tiger as well, and then of course the little mouse creature, which that's probably the only close equivalent they had in this game was the pygmy mode, which would be a lot like the mouse transformation in the Dragon's Curse. So anyway, as looking back at these 3 Monster World games that I've played so far this year, I will definitely say this game is easily better than Wonder Boy Monsterland, because that game had this, basically this artificial difficulty imposed on it, whereas you had this timer, and you would start losing life if that timer counted down. And thankfully that wasn't in this game, because that would have been just, absolutely annoying to have to deal with that as well. You have a save system. You could go in and save, whereas in Wonder Boy Monsterland, you die, you're done. You have to start all over from the beginning. So definitely a huge improvement over that game, but it is a step back from its sequel. The sequel, I feel, was just a better game. Now, I mean, you may like this one a little bit better because this one's definitely more challenging. You'll definitely get your money's worth out of it as far as being challenged. So it is definitely, in a way, if you want to look at it that way, from a challenging perspective, this one's definitely probably a better game if you're looking for a challenge. But if you're looking for a fun game, I felt the Dragon's Curse was just more fun. There was just more variety involved with the Dragon's Curse, and I had a lot more fun playing that game. Overall, I wouldn't say this is a bad game, though. It's just kind of a step down from its predecessor, which in a way is to be fair, because it was a really good game. Now, I'm on the Steam page for this game just to kind of show you this is how I got it. So you see here on the Steam page it's 99 cents. And if you just come back to this area and you want to look at, say, other Genesis games that you may be interested in, this bundle goes on sale quite a bit. In fact, I'm pretty sure I didn't pay this much for it. I think I might have got it for like 75 or 80% off when I got the bundle, so I'm pretty sure I paid even less than that. But this is what you get when you hit the bundle. You get all these games. I think there's like 63, 68, something like that games in this. Unfortunately, as you can tell, it's non-alphabetical order, which is kind of a bummer. But almost all these games are 99 cents. The only difference is anything with the word Sonic in the name, for some reason they charge $4.99 or something related to it. Where's the one I was looking at earlier? Yeah, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I'm pretty sure that's not worth $5, but whatever. When you get it all on sale for like 30, 25 bucks or so, you're getting a good deal. You're talking about not even 50 cents for most of these games, and that's definitely something you can't beat that, even for pieces of garbage like Super Thunderblade. I hated that game. Anyway, so it's definitely a good deal. Even without the sale, it's a good deal at 99 cents. I think you can't go wrong with that. Let me show you something though. So these are the local files as far as where Steam has installed. Now keep in mind I am running Kubuntu 2004 now, and so it put it here in my home directory, .local, share, Steam, steamapps, common, Sega Classics. If you're running this on, say, a Windows 10 machine, Windows 7, and say 64-bit like pretty much most people nowadays, it'll be in program files, x86, Steam, steamapps, common, Sega Classics. And then every single one of the ROMs that's available for this game is right here in this folder. And so this was the ROM right here that I used. No, wait. Yeah, that's the ROM I used right there. Monster World 3 USA, because that's Monster Lair up above it. So yeah, every one of these ROMs is available if you want to use it in a different emulator, which is what I did. I used it with RetroArch with the Genesis Plus GX emulator, and when I did that, I was able to get achievements on the retroachievements.org website, and that just adds a whole extra level to the game. If you're interested in stuff like achievements, if you're not, you can completely and totally ignore that. But if you like getting achievements, almost every one of these ROMs works with the achievement system there on retroachievements.org. Now, a handful of games don't have achievements, and a couple of them have the wrong ROM type, so it doesn't register. But I'd say probably a good 95% of them do work on that website. Now the downside to that is that the built-in emulator with the Mega Drive and Genesis Classics collection literally has no challenges or achievements in the game for this particular game. So if you are looking for achievements, you might as well play it in an emulator, because you're not going to get anything for playing it in the built-in emulator. Not even a challenge. So definitely a nice added touch, the fact that Sega actually puts those ROMs there available to you that you can do with whatever you want. You've already paid for them. So it's a very nice feature there. And I want to say that this collection is pretty much available on every platform. PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch. I think you can get it everywhere. In fact, you know what? Let's see if we can just go to Nintendo and see if we can even find it. I bet it's there. Sega collection. Let's do that. Maybe not. There it is. There it is. Sega Genesis Classics. So here you go. If you have a Nintendo Switch, you can get it for 30 bucks. That's actually about the same cost that it's on sale right now on Steam. That's interesting. So there must be more games available or less games available here. But anyway, like I said, if you can get it here on a Nintendo Switch platform and the other platforms, you can pretty much get it just about anywhere. And I'm not going to go through all of them, obviously, because that would take a while of searching. So anyway, what would I give this game as far as a score is concerned? Well, let me think here. I love the Dragon's Curse. That game was awesome. A little bit, actually maybe too easy. But if I'm going to give this one, stick with my star scoring system, as it were, I don't know, I'd probably give it about 4 stars out of 5. Because it was a fun time. It's definitely colorful. And the music was good in it. I definitely enjoyed most aspects of it. A little bit challenging at times. But the middle portion of the game definitely brings it down. So I'd say probably a 4 out of 5. That's a pretty good, a pretty fair ranking, I'd say, for the game. It's definitely worth it, especially if you like Metroidvania style games. You can't go wrong with that. So that'd be my final score. On the How Long to Beat website, I gave it 80%. So if you want to go with both systems, that's basically what I gave it there. I gave it an 80%, which it does seem like the majority of people who have ranked the game on that website, that's the same score that they give it as well. So that's where I would put it. Definitely a fun time, and you know, relatively cheap, especially if you get on Steam, because if you're only interested in a handful of games from the Genesis, you can pick and choose the ones you want, or you can get the whole collection for around 30 bucks, give or take, if it goes on sale. Actually, how much is the standard collection? Oh, that's the Euro price. Okay, so it says price of individual products $81.42, so maybe that's just a bundled discount. Either way, it's not a bad deal either way. Definitely worth playing. Like I said, if you're a fan of the Dragon's Curse, just be aware that this one is definitely more challenging. It's more like Wonder Boy and Monster Land in that regards. But still a fun time, still worth playing, and I would recommend it. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you all for sticking around and listening to me ramble. Take care.